This is Power Athlete Radio. With your hosts, Denny K, Professor Booty, and the Luke Summers. And now, toes forward, hips locked, shoulders set, and retract those scapulars. It's time for some knowledge bombs.
Thanks for tuning into Power Athlete Radio. Happy 100th episode, Power Athlete Nation. There is so much to celebrate on the podcast today. Our centennial episode coincides with John's birthday, the end of 22 Jack Street testing, and the start of the next 100 installments of Strength and Conditioning's premier podcast. You are in for a long treat today as we get rolling over a few cocktails and some literal potty talk. If you already know what an upper decker is, you're going to want to skip through the first 7 minutes of this program. If you don't know what an upper decker is, you will also want to skip through the first 7 minutes of this program. Hear about the final moments of 22 Jack Street and the results of nearly 6 months of hard work. Some of the Bod Pod feedback will definitely surprise you. No celebratory episode would be complete without a little love and reminiscing. Relive some of our favorite moments of Power Athlete Radio and fuzzy details about how it all started and then how it was nearly shut down. Also, we talk about the existence of the original lost episode, Episode 0. Things start to get a bit off the rails when we begin telling stories about the Power Athlete Symposium and how Denny and Steve slept face-to-face sharing a glute complex session. If you want funny, informative, and relevant information, we have 99 other episodes to choose from. All kidding aside, I couldn't be more proud to present episode 100 of Power Athlete Radio. Enjoy!
What's up, Power Athletes? Welcome to a fucking awesome episode of Power Athlete Radio. Not only are we going to step outside of the box on this one, not only are we celebrating the big man's birthday, but it also just happens to be the 100th episode of the premier podcast in Strength and Conditioning.
Woo! Home. Great job,
That's
Denny.
right.
Yeah.
That's fucking right. This is Denny. I'm here with fucking everybody. And we're about to get shit going.
That's right.
How you guys doing?
Amazing.
Good.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Super.
Incredible, awesome.
Standard.
Standard. Subpar.
Well, standard would be incredibly awesome. I can get myself for the course. I can get myself a cider.
Yeah, this is the 100th episode, and we are all currently celebrating with our own chosen libations. So we've got some margaritas going here. What are you guys drinking? Anything on your end?
I'm rocking Mules and Oberon.
Noise.
Did you say okra?
Okra.
Oberon. Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm drinking
Milwaukee's best.
Old Milwaukee's Beast.
Yeah, I went old school. Old Milwaukee's best ice. 5.5.
Oh my God, this is going to be the greatest podcast of all time.
5.9% alcohol, guys.
This is going to get weird.
Yeah. I already got my pants off. I mean,
I don't think I've ever had that. But are you in the bathroom? That's the question.
I am not sitting on the shitter.
Good to know.
Are you standing on it?
I know, that wasn't my question.
He's using a squatting potty.
Way to evade the actual question. But I like your style, Denny. I
Yeah.
like it. It's your office. You told us it's your sanctuary. And it's where you get your best work done, your biggest ideas. So I like it.
It's like I said, it is a place where I find some comfort. I get a lot of inspiration, and it's what keeps me sane.
How do we fill the next 4 minutes just talking about you taking dumps and being in the bathroom?
Well, here's the thing, Denny. You have to tell everyone about that time you told me when you sat backwards.
That time I sat backwards and got herpes in my frickin' culo?
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, that wasn't herpes. That was strep. Same thing happened to Levi.
You mean when you straddle the toilet and you'd put your laptop on the top so you can work and play at the same time?
Oh, you sit back there like AC Slater style on the
Yeah, you
chair.
call it the Slater.
Oh.
Oh yeah, AC Slater. Yeah, you sit back.
That's what happens when you sit down and pee, Denny.
We call that the what's up preppy.
We call that the Luke Summers.
What's up preppy?
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. Ashley doesn't let Luke stand, so he has to sit.
Actually, John and Luke introduced me to the term upper decker, which is something I had never heard or been.
Luke told you about the upper
privy
decker
to?
because I didn't know about the upper decker until you told me about it.
Really?
And I'm really upset that I didn't know about it because I would have.
I thought it was a type of burger, but I was.
Luke, did you tell
have
them
you guys
the hard
been
way?
living in a cave?
No, I've been shitting in the actual toilet. Actually, I don't. That's not a thing. Girls don't do that.
Tex, what were you saying?
I was saying, Luke, did you show them the hard way what it was?
The what?
Did you actually perform an
No.
upper decker to show
Oh
them?
no, I have videos on my phone. Plenty of videos. It's multiple camera angles because it's a science.
Well, it's a
You
lot of
have-
GoPro. That's why he has a selfie stick.
Well, yeah, it's an instructional thing, and the lighting has to be perfect.
It's on Power Athlete.
So I think that's our 4 minutes.
That's, oh my God, I can't wait to edit half of that
You know,
out.
suddenly though, real quick, I'm reminded of the last night of the symposium. And
Go on.
Yeah, we went to after we ate, we went and had a couple beverages. We wound up at like that beach place. The bar was called something like Beach Ball.
Beach ball, yeah.
Beach Ball. And I go in there to use the bathroom, and apparently in California there's like no stall doors on the shitters there.
Well, it's
'Cause
not
I
California. They just don't want you to shit in the bathroom, so they don't
I walk in and
doors.
there's like a dude just sitting there with his pants around his ankles, his head between his knees. I don't know if he was awake or really
Did you happen to
concentrating
spread
on
his
working
legs
out
so you
that
could take
big
a leak?
boy.
And then were you
Hey,
like,
just
you were
open
like,
your legs up. Hold on. I got good aim.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I mean, come on.
well, you can use his name. Just say Tex. Are you okay?
I was fine. I had a great time.
He's like, just don't get anybody on my cowboy boots.
No poo on the booth. Oh
Boo-boo
my
boofing.
gosh. So this is the 100th episode, and we're all kind of celebrating the conclusion to 22 Jack Street, which was the 22-week program in which we all followed a protocol that was to get us jacked and have either gain 10% of our body weight or lose 10%. So we're all pretty stoked about that. Let's just, talk about what the last day or yesterday was like. I mean, we all showed up at 7 a.m. and tested our various, I don't know, body comp and body fat at a bod pod testing.
Well, it was just a long day. There was 2 times yesterday that John told a story, and he's like, "Wait a minute," he referred to it as the other day. And I'm like, "No, that was this morning."
It's
He's
the
like,
same
Are you
day.
sure?
Same day.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that happened this morning."
Why did that feel like a long day?
Yeah.
It didn't to me.
Because no one slept the night before.
Yeah.
Because we're
No.
all stoked to get in.
Yeah.
And you guys were just all totally deranged from your
Completely.
dehydration. So
Yeah.
I guess to fill in the listeners, the leaners ended up going on like a cutting protocol. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
A water
so
weight.
what happened was we were sitting about 5-7 days out, and I was sitting a couple pounds over, and Callie was sitting a couple pounds over. So we decided, you know what, we're gonna have to cut some water, and the water cutting was interesting to say the least. I was having to eat some ice cubes there at the end because I had to cut water on that last day and ended up making the weight. So I weighed in at 268.8. Callie weighed in at 135.5.
No, 131.
131 and change.
106, yeah.
And then Luke hit 247.
47.
Levi, what'd you hit?
240.6.
240. Tex was
215.9.
so yeah. Tex was 0.8 of a pound shy, and then Bobby you were
I crushed it. I was 246.6.
Nice.
so. And then we stopped on and we got the bod pod done, and Luke weighed in at a percentage of body fat of 23%.
So we all got to nude up.
God.
We all got to nude up and really
Yeah, dude.
see what we're working with, like see what kind of changes have occurred. And I'm like a fucking emaciated Ethiopian, right? And Luke, he just looks happy. He's like, you know, all of his clothes still fit him just fine. You know.
No, they don't.
Well, you always. He always wore Zubaz and spandex to begin with.
I was wearing a Manzier and Zubaz before.
I thought it was a bro, but whatever.
It's the bro.
But yeah, like John looked shredded. I think I just look like a Ethiopian, and but it was pretty interesting, and you know, to say the least, it was a great day because it was also John's birthday, and as soon as we were done there, as soon as we hydrated a little bit, we went to John's house and we had some pancakes and bacon.
Yeah.
And here's what people don't understand, and by people I strictly mean John and Callie. The last thing I wanted to celebrate was
With food.
with food.
Oh, God.
And John makes like 13 fucking pancakes
Well,
for
you
me.
didn't have to
He's
eat
like,
them
come
all.
on, big guy. And I'm like, happy birthday, I'm going to eat these pancakes for you.
Right.
Single tier.
So Luke went up. You gained what, 8% body fat?
Mhm.
8% Callie. Callie went from 20.
About 25 to 16.
Yeah, 25 to 16.
Yeah.
And you only lost 1 pound of lean body mass.
Yeah, 1 pound.
And then I was, I started at 19 and change and got to 8.4.
Holy shit.
And got to 270. So I actually gained 9 pounds of lean body mass and lost over 30 pounds of fat.
Which is total bullshit,
Yeah,
by the
seriously.
way. Like, that's completely unfair.
Well, the other thing, too, is that number would have been better, but I pounded a liter of coconut water before I got in the bod pod just because I didn't want to make them feel bad.
Yeah. Oh, thank
No,
you.
that's not why. It's because you
'Cause you couldn't
crawled out of
wait.
your fucking truck to get into the bod pound.
Yeah.
No, I was pretty hydrated. I cracked open the coconut water and I was like, I'm just gonna take like one
It's like-
tiny sip, and like I just all of a sudden I blacked out, and a second later I crushed it. I was like,
I'm trying to think of the movie, but like someone crawling through a desert and getting a canteen of water.
Right.
John's just like shaking. His eyes are like his saucer plates, and he's just like, just one sip, and then like Popeye squeezed the spinach into his mouth. You know, like
It was, dude, it
Just
was,
goes-
Just goes
yeah.
just pouring it all over his face.
Yeah, it was to lose 11% body fat was pretty good. So it was,
I never thought the day would come that we would be done with this whole thing.
Yeah, it was long. It was long in the fight. So and then
Yeah. I only gained about 2.5% body fat,
That's great.
and then I gained 11 pounds of muscle, 8 in my back, and then the rest in my ass. So
How do you know that?
You are.
because I got a DEXA scan, Callie, it tells you exactly.
I mean, I
Wow.
would refer to a girl like you as rather hippie, but just real thick.
Stout.
Real thick.
Yeah.
Stout would be. Yeah, I'm thinking more like Hobbit.
Big
I
boned.
am big bone. I have
Which
9
is
pounds
true.
of bones.
God, why don't you bring this up?
And you know,
Can't wait to
Texas
hear it.
I do, I
Texas
just
has
had to
the
lock that
longest
one in
bone
there.
density.
I'm in the 96th percentile in the world for bone density, so I'm proud of that. I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't know what my initial body fat was. I just didn't get it taken, but I imagine I probably went up by 10% at least.
Yeah. You look more jacked now with your pictures that you sent, actually. To me, I mean, to me, you do.
Callie went back and forth a couple times. I think she wants to get to know Bobby.
You know, yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I'm still a little dehydrated, and so I'm not sure I'm seeing things clearly. But
No, we were pretty dehydrated yesterday.
Anything
but I
that
did come
looks
home and make
meaty,
great pancakes. That was awesome.
I will. If anything that looks meaty to me, it looks desirable. So.
In retrospect,
Remember we did the podcast and you just started doing this and you did the whole podcast laying in your bed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
the struggle is real, man. This was long. This was a fight.
yeah, and I think that's one thing. What I was about to get to, like in retrospect, what we learned from this is 20 plus weeks is a long time.
Especially to be gaining.
To do either. Like, I think you could accomplish either in a shorter time frame.
12 weeks would have been better.
Yeah, like a 12-week, or even just like a what we've been calling like a stair-step model, where it's like, it's a long road. Why be in such a rush and make it so drastic and make it such a higher barrier of entry? Because at the end of the day, the consistency is what was extremely difficult on my end, and I think Tex and Bobby as well,
Oh,
to
yeah.
try and pack in 4,400 calories a day, every day.
I literally cannot imagine that.
Even on rest days, and
Travel was terrible.
Travel is brutal.
So I will.
What kind of strength gains did you guys make?
So I ended up hitting a new PR for my 5RM, and we didn't test any singles. But before I left for South Africa, I hit 435 for 5 pretty easily.
Yeah.
And that was my previous 1RM prior, I think it's like 480 maybe. So I got a lot stronger through my squat. But then the trip to South Africa crushed me personally. It's just it's like 40 hours of flight time, not to mention sitting in airports, not to mention sitting in traffic to LAX and from LAX. It crushed me. I'm still crushed from it.
Right, and like the whole shark diving thing really takes it out of you.
The meat eating
and then eating the meat.
Don't get me wrong.
Adrenaline takes energy.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of effort to eat that many species in one weekend.
Yeah, it's true. No, I actually, you know what? I don't think my, my strength. I wouldn't say I got stronger, but for the most part, I felt pretty good. I mean, I still squatted 4.25 for 10, so last Monday, and that was pretty good for being able to be on the lean. So felt pretty good. I mean, I had some nice strength PRs during it, but you know what? As we've been sitting here, chewing through all the information and the numbers and kind of crunching it and reflecting back, and the one thing that I'm going to really have to go down and figure out a little bit, and we started talking about a lot about like the aerobic capacity and really developing that aerobic base. That was something that I did through the majority, and Luke didn't.
Yeah, I did absolutely no aerobic work.
Yeah, no aerobic work. And I think there's some correlation between creating a big, wide aerobic base and being able to gain muscle. And I think
be in shape enough to lift weights too.
Well, and you know what? I blame the fucking bodybuilding community, because like everywhere you have all these fucking dipshits being like, oh, fucking no cardio, I don't do any cardio, and you're like, hey motherfucker, it's not cardio, it's just fucking basic recovery.
Yeah.
How about just having a little basic fucking health?
Yeah, GPP.
So just creating just some form of aerobic base. And what I noticed just for me, because I kind of bought into that camp for a long time, that when we started this program, so I did a little bit different. The program was 22 weeks. For the first 10 weeks, I tried to gain as much muscle. I had a ton of protein, and had the idea that I was going to try to put on muscle and gain some weight, because I knew I couldn't cut for 22 weeks, and I think it ended up working pretty well. But
yeah, it's a pretty smart approach. And the thing is, like that, the steady state, like sprinkled in there, like some steady state cardio dosed appropriately, is not going to detract from your gains whatsoever. It's not going to detract from your ability to be strong. It's just like it is that appropriate amount that you need for GPP. And I think, like John said, like people who get on a camp where it's like this is, you got to throw that whole thing out when you approach a bodybuilding program is wrong. Now, unfortunately, if you add a little bit too much, obviously it's gonna detract. But like I definitely got weaker, but I didn't lose a lot of muscle mass. It's just that my training was such that I wasn't doing singles.
Yeah, but you also were riding a bike. I mean, I
was riding my bike.
What fucking killed Callie was
I was Marty McFlying all over this town.
She ditched her car and literally rode her bike for 22 weeks, this whole thing, and she had this idea, like, hey, I'm going to get on my bike, I'm going to hoof it everywhere on the bike, and I think literally every time I saw her, I'm like, hey, she's like, my legs are so heavy. I'm like, oh, it's because you just had to ride up a fucking glacier on the way to work out every morning.
Yeah,
so I commend her for that. I mean, I would have fucking been calling Uber or like trying to like go like leaving the cube style and hold on to cars on fucking.
I switched to horse and buggy. So.
No, it was good. The programming was sound. I mean, basically doing focused hypertrophy work, getting enough volume, lifting weights, doing that. It's just, what we really looked at was kind of different macro approaches and different, total caloric load. Callie did more of a kind of a zone-ish 40-30-30.
Mm-hmm.
But, in hindsight, I thought her protein was too low, but you didn't really lose any muscle, Whereas I did the anabolic approach.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the anabolic approach was good, but the thing is, you have to be mentally strong enough to be able to train through that motherfucker, and I just don't know if a lot of people have the just stupid fucking bulldog desire.
And here's the thing too, like I the 40-30-30 was necessary because of the bike riding that I was doing as commuting, and it was just a necessary part of the training. Had I not done that, I would have lost more muscle mass, So, but like Bobby and Tex, like what else? Like, what are your kind of experiences or takeaways from the process? Harder than you thought? Have you guys ever done anything like this before?
I am the fattest and heaviest I've ever been in my entire life. Like, my playing weight in college was 185, and I could run pretty well. Now I feel like I can't run, so that's my next goal, is to learn to sprint with this new mass. The eating got extremely difficult in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, dude,
absolutely. When I was talking about being derailed, the trip to Australia just destroyed me. I think I lost 9 pounds on that trip.
Jeez.
And coming back, I wish I had the ability to do a little bit of aerobic training, but every calorie counted. So I didn't want to expel any of those calories doing anything other than trying to gain weight.
Sure.
And the training, I mean, I just recovered so poorly from the training, even especially as the program kind of drug on towards the end. I was just sore all the time and hurting everywhere and just like trying to recover, and it was a fucking grind at the end.
Yeah.
But my numbers are real well. So my squat was strong. I hit a PR 375 for a 10 rep max, and then 405 for a 5. But my incline press, which has always been kind of a limiting factor for me just in training, I freaking crushed it, and I'm through the roof. I know Bobby and I did some pressing in Toronto, and he's like, what the fuck was this? I was smashing him on the press, and he's definitely stronger than I.
That's awesome. You know, incline press is one of those things that I hardly see in my training, and it's like, you know, I think that in combination, so barbell incline press and then all of the dumbbell pressing was huge. Yeah,
it was great. This just exposed so many holes. Like, all of my old injuries started to come back, where my elbows were all flared up and hurting, and I wasn't pressing. I was just working around it, trying to get pec work in on flies. And the elbow felt good, and Tex and I laid down to press in Toronto, and he was just like fucking steamrolling me. Dude, he was like super strong and like moving the bar really fast, moving the dumbbells really fast, and I was riding the fucking struggle bus. Yeah.
Dude, you guys got a little slice. My rookie year in the NFL, I weighed like right around 300 pounds, and they told me they wanted me to weigh like 330. And so that off season, I went from 300 to 336. So I gained 36 pounds that off season. And I think I told you guys have heard me tell the story at the seminar that when I went out to mini camp, I got my stance, and as I took the step, as they hiked the ball, literally the defense men ran around me like I was standing still, and I had this like weird fucking moment of clarity where I felt like a big planet, and there was like a little planet, like a little moon orbiting me really fast, and I realized I was gonna get cut, and like I left mini camp, and like I just went home, and like that's when I like switched up my diet, and like basically I was eating like a salad and running at night and did everything I could, and that's when I showed up to camp at like, you know, just over 300 pounds and lost that weight, and it was probably about 8 or 10 weeks, and then, you know, and that was the playing weight I played at. So and then they were like got all pissed at me that I wasn't weighing 330, and I was like, hey, I'd much rather have you be mad at me for not weighing 330 than cutting me and me going home for being too fucking fat and slow. So yeah, like I've definitely had to do that, and it's funny. I remember sitting there like before, like as I gained that weight, just the thought of eating, because I used to set an alarm clock and wake up in the night and like take this shake, like just like waking up 5 minutes before the alarm and like counting the minutes till I had to take my shake and feeling like I was going to throw up the whole time.
Yeah,
so.
I've heard of like guys doing that, powerlifters doing that. Like I remember a coach telling me about how he was told to set his alarm, wake up and have half of the loaf of white bread at a certain period of time at night, wake up a little bit later and have the other half of a full a Wonder Bread, and like because that's what his coach had him do, and it's like he woke up, he had terrible stomach ache, but it was the sugar, and it was just like very quickly displaced in his system and stuff, and so it's just kind of, it's crazy.
Mine was a shake of casein, peanut butter, and whole milk, and like I think like some chocolate syrup maybe or something.
I'll tell you one interesting thing, and I talked to John earlier today. I had asymmetry, so naturally I'm right-handed. My right side was just bigger than my left, and throughout this program, it evened out.
Was it specifically your forearm, or?
Yeah, you gotta switch hands, Tex. You gotta switch hands, man.
Says the man in the bathroom. So yeah, I don't know what it was.
He's like, what do you think I'm doing right now?
Cranking it.
So just throughout the 22, my left arm caught up to my right, and then my left leg. So it's very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, there were a lot of interesting takeaways, and I think we would all agree that like I don't know if the like specifically you guys have mentioned, but I know I've said a bunch of times that just doing the single jointed movement stuff has really helped like prime the movement pattern that I'm about to do. And it's like, that's not a surprise to me. It's not like a huge like novel idea, but I just hadn't actively incorporated that. And especially with like utilizing machines, it gives you zero excuse not to do that type of work, right? Like, so like kind of priming the pump. And it's more than just like an activation type thing. It's almost like a mental preparation thing as well. It just, it made a heap of difference on days that I was feeling really good. Like I could squat a lot more powerfully if I could actively like just work on those hamstrings, get that like whatever the leg curl or whatever we were doing that day. You know, it made a lot of sense to me. And even though you do the banded resistance stuff in like your normal box, something about the machines actually was just a different stimulus, and it worked for me somehow.
Maybe it was just the hate that got built up watching R2D2 fucking try to train those people.
Dude, so there was this broad at our gym, right?
She's not a broad. She's old.
Okay, so I call her R2D2 because towards the end of our training or our experience at this Globo gym.
Hold on, let's take it back a step further. So at the bodybuilder gym we were at, there's like contract trainers that they allow to run their business, and there's this kind of like 50-something Asian woman who's a trainer there who has never lifted anything in her life. She's probably 120 pounds, wears like motorcycle Mad Max boots, and like belittles her fucking like these douchey clients she has.
So John is not exaggerating, and I will just elaborate on that because I think that's the most interesting part of this woman is that she has almost exclusively male clients, and she belittles them, and they fucking love it. And I'm not saying this like because I'm like trying to like exaggerate. I'm saying it because I have watched them, and they look like they're going to like have an orgasm like every time.
These are the same guys that show up at some place and like pay some woman to shit on.
That's exactly it. They are super weird.
This fucking bitch is
crazy.
Not only she's crazy, she's fucking ruthless to these dudes, but she doesn't know anything about training. The only thing she knows about training is she knows that there's something in the building that people do something with. But beyond that, she doesn't know fucking anything. And I've heard the comments, and I'm like, dude, she's been around. It's the shit she said and the things she's had people do. But the moral of the story is she decided to take her hard-earned dough and buys a sport bike, right? And it's up in Ortega Canyon, which is between the 405 and the 5, and it's pretty like windy, and on Saturday mornings, guys race motorcycles up in Ortega Canyon. So she goes and she takes her fucking, I'm sure it's some Gixxer bullshit, takes it up there, and she's riding, brand new bike, she's riding the bike with her husband or boyfriend or whoever riding bitch on the back, and she lays that motherfucker out and breaks her leg clean in half.
She breaks her leg.
And what does she do? Yeah. She shows up to the gym with a fucking walker.
Yeah.
And her son carrying
her shit.
And I realized
and she's crutching behind her clients, yelling at them as we're watching R2D2 try to train people.
I realize the story is not interesting to you guys. It's probably not even interesting to the listener, but it's just funny to us.
A hired trainer, or is she just like?
She's a contracted, so she's like she probably pays like a monthly thing to be there.
Share. But somebody's paying R2D2 to train him with a fucking butt.
So the reason I call her R2D2 is because I said one day like, what would she look like if you put a trap? Like, this is so fucking mean, but like, if you took a trash can and put it over her body as she like kind of like,
and then as I went to get the trash can,
because she's about
Kelly fucking literally tackled me. Was like, "Don't do it." I'm like, "I'm gonna put a fucking trash can on her."
She's like 4 feet tall, and so it would just completely look like R2D2.
So her leg was so fucked up, it would take her like she had the like the little what is it the walker. It would take her 3 minutes to move maybe 4 feet.
Yeah. It was
like,
it was hard
leg,
to watch.
Like she had no business being there. She should have been fucking in traction. So she had to get there to belittle her clients.
So like just to kind of illustrate like how she works with her people, I shit you not, and I didn't tell you guys this the other day, but I saw her there, and she's been feeling a little better, so she'll step away from the walker and she'll kind of like train her clients like just standing or whatever. And I swear to God,
you pushed her over?
No, she takes off her sweater. She wears like a zip-up hoodie, and she's got like these big fake bombs that are like.
She's fake bombs?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, totally. And
really?
her arms are tatted up. So she So she hangs the sweater up on the walker. She goes to her client who is sitting on a bench and is about to like curl or something. She puts both of her hands on his knees, leans in super close to his face, and I am like 2 feet away, like fucking bicep curling or pretending not to watch this. And she says, I said shut the fuck up, like that to him, and he's just loving it, right? So he's loving it, and she keeps her hands on him, and she's like, I said shut the fuck up, like that to him, and she stamps back, and I am like, oh my god, is anyone else seeing this? Like, this is awesome.
So,
everything that's going on is so
I'm kind of aroused.
Denny's like, hey, can I get your number?
Jenny's like, did you get her card?
Right, yeah, Denny's on
It's I think she has a website. I think it's called like fucking like something like Dragon Lady Training or something bullshit.
Ooh.
But it's fucking terrible, dude. I am so glad that like and I maybe we'll go back to that gym. I hope not. But
you left a sweater there, so you can't. Oh no, it's here.
No, the food got it, thank God. I was like so fucking disgusted. I walked out, left my sweater, and the girl at the front I think was wearing it around because it kind of smells like shit.
Yeah. Anyway,
the place is fucking weird. It's
not to bore anyone.
It's a strange place. Like you know, and the best is people fucking. Like we've said it before, people always rat fuck the CrossFit gym. I have seen more jackass shit in one day in that place than I've seen in many CrossFit gyms. So fuck people.
Yeah.
So
a lot of weirdos. A lot of Ron Hubbards there.
How do you not want to start fucking coaching people up there? You know what I mean? That's got to drive you guys crazy.
How attractive are they?
Yeah, so I was just telling them that the only person I've coached there was a 14-year-old guy who was going into his freshman year in high school and wanted to be a quarterback. And I could tell his mom dropped him off there, and he was squatting really poorly, and he was extremely earnest, and I could see it in his face. And I was working in doing some pull-ups on the rig there, and he just he's kind of like watching some other stuff I was doing, so I just approached him, put my hand out, and I said, like, I'm Callie, what's your name? And he told me, and he was really super receptive, and I said, hey, I work with some athletes, and I'd be happy to help fix a little bit of your squat form if you're open to it, and he just said, absolutely, and that's the only person I've coached, just because, like, there's just something about a kid that you feel like, it's like you want to rescue someone before it's too late. And otherwise, as far as adults are concerned, they have access to knowledge if they want. And, I've had people there trying to correct my form in squatting.
Do you remember the day, like, you were deadlifting, you dropped the bar, and the other came over and, like, told you not to drop the bar?
Yeah.
The best part is I was thinking about it, I ended up, I pulled, like 585 for reps that one day, and I was dropping the bar. That fucking pussy didn't say anything.
No, he didn't say anything to you, obviously. Listen. I've got a smile on my face, and I'm very approachable, all right?
They're like, the big angry dude over there lifting those big weights at 6 a.m., we're not talking to him.
Right.
And Denny, to be honest with you, the population there is just so...
it's beyond recognition.
Pathetic. Like, here's the thing. I would be worried.
Logo.
I would be worried if I started coaching someone that they'd expect coaching every day.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's no longer a safe haven for me because
they're
going to be coming up to you, going to be talking to you, talking about your weekend.
I ain't got time.
I ain't got time to go jibba jabba.
I got to grab those 130s. I got to rep out 10 bench press.
Oh, shut up.
I got to drop those dumbbells.
I've never seen that. Cookies. I've seen the 110s. I've not seen the 130s.
That's because you weren't there.
Dude, the day I broke out the 150s, the owner ran over and he got so excited that somebody was actually going to use them, and he thanked me. I was like, and I made him go get me a fucking water. I was like, give me a water, J-Bone.
Cafe latte.
Onion
bagel. Greenlee. Well, let's move on to another topic of discussion. Again, this is our 100th episode, and we are very proud that we've been in existence that long. I was going down memory lane earlier today, and I listened to a few of our first podcasts when it was Denny and Steve, and it was all business. Let me tell you right now, if I wanted to fall asleep to anything, I would put that on. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That was coma material. So
pre-premiere.
We were learning. We were learning as we were going.
It was honestly, it sounded really professional, and to be honest, it definitely had like a completely different feel, and it wasn't like a bad podcast at all. It was actually really good and really informative, much more concise than the fucking jamoke staff that we have currently running, but it was good. We've just gone through so much now.
Jamoke.
Jamoke is like a stupid character, like an idiot.
Yeah, it's like a Rule or a Mama Luke.
It's like a silly idiot, is I believe the Webster's.
Mama Luke, I know what that is.
Hey,
where's Mama Luke from, John?
Philly.
Don't talk about Luke's mom like that.
Yeah, that's Mama Luke.
A Mama Luke. Hey, that's actually pretty funny.
Hey!
Who's that guy?
Would you say that's awesome?
Right. Drink up. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So let's just kind of like, if anybody has any, I don't know, this is the most like stupid thing I'm gonna say, but if anybody has any memories that they want to bring up,
I'll go ahead and just jump in right away. When we had one of our first guests,
I'm gonna get a beer.
Was K-Star, and literally it was like I think me, Denny, and Steve started the show. We're like, and we have Kelly Starrett, and then I didn't say anything, Denny didn't say anything, Steve didn't say anything for the next 90 minutes, and then I went back to listen to what had just happened to make a show timeline, because we did that when we were hard workers back then, Callie, so people could just jump ahead to whatever they want to listen to. And I was like 4 minutes in and already indexed 6 different subjects, and I'm like, this is changing every 40 seconds. What the fuck's going on
was
here?
it Kelly and I just dialogue?
Yeah, and it was just you guys were arguing against
Nothing.
someone who wasn't even talking to you. You just were like, yeah, you're totally right. That guy's an idiot. I'm like, who are you talking about? But that was the most chaotic episode that I had been a part of. And I'm just like, I think the timeline was like opening and then knowledge bombs. Like,
I know you told me that, and so I wasn't around for that one, so I had to go back and listen to it. When I went back and listened to it, it was literally exactly what you described. It was them almost as if neither of them were talking to each other, like not in existence. It was just two people talking back and forth.
Yeah, yelling at their imaginary child.
Scolding.
Yeah, that's how it works sometimes, you know.
Steve, how about you? Do you have like a favorite memory?
Who was it that said that they grabbed their coach by the neck?
Kyle Turley.
One of the best podcasts ever.
That was one of the best podcasts. That story will live with me forever. That was awesome. So that was one of the that was like a big moment for the podcast when we started like attacking people. I mean, outside of the fact that we just went from the #1 strength and conditioning podcast to elderly hate crimes.
Hey, Jim Hazlitt's not that old, so.
What's that?
Jim Hazlitt's not elderly.
I thought we were talking about. I was talking about the old granny that we were putting trash cans over.
Oh,
R2D2.
She's not that old. She's just in her 50s.
Well, she could be 100.
She could be 100. She also could be 20.
There are a lot of guys who would still like be like, "Oh yeah, she'd get it," but I don't know.
Get what?
The
garbage can?
People want to get to know her.
Nice. So okay. So Steve's is so he was like my second choice, Kyle Turley, because he was such a fiery.
Oh, he's
dude.
a crazy person.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
crazy.
Kyle like a brother. And dude, Kyle is. You guys just got a taste of the intensity.
He doesn't even need like any sort of drug or alcohol. I can only imagine what it's like.
He was so fucking like he would get so fucking
Fired
wound
up.
up. I'd be like, dude, we're watching film. Settle the fuck down.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of my brother is like very, very much so like that, and I just like that personality. It's you can take it in small doses, but it's just one of those things where you're like, this person is unpredictable.
Did you kind of left me with the impression like I wanted to train with him?
Yeah, Kyle.
For sure.
You know, Kyle was. We were training partners for a couple of years, and he was a good training partner. He was even better to play next to, because he would just start losing his fucking mind on stuff. And then I would say stupid stuff to him. I'd be like, man, your butt looks kind of fat out there in the pants. And he'd like look at me like all like, what? I'd be like, oh, it just looks kind of chunky.
Would you tell a story about like the purpose behind how he would pick his clothes out and how he would dress?
Oh, yeah. So, obviously being a minority in the NFL as white guys, we would take a lot of harassment from various other players about our dress.
Such a terrible.
And the big one that we would get harassed on is the black guys always wanted to know why we wore our clothes so tight. They're like, man, look at your pants. Look how tight your pants are. This and your t-shirts are tight. Why do you guys wear all the tight? And Kyle looked at this guy and he's like, I dress like as soon as he's like, my dress when I is 100% dictated on beating a motherfucker's ass when I leave the house. He's like, so if I'm wearing like tight pants, those are some pants that I can probably fight in. If I got to run and jump a fence, I can get over it. I lace my fucking shoes up because I might have to kick somebody in the balls. I wear a tight shirt so that shit doesn't get slung over my head as I get punched in the face like a hockey player.
I love it.
So basically, I wear clothes like I'm going to have to fight somebody when I leave the house. He's like, you don't lace up your fucking shoes. How you going to run from anybody? Your pants are around your ankles, so you're going to get your ass kicked. And that big fucking T-shirt you're wearing as a dress, that thing's going to get slung and get your ass beat. And, like, he said that, and, like, all of a sudden, like, everybody got real quiet, and they were like, oh, yeah, okay. And, like, nobody said anything. He's like, that's right, motherfucker. And, like, Kyle, like, all of a sudden just loses his mind, and they were like, they never said shit up to us ever again about wearing fucking fitted clothes.
How about you, Denny? Do you have any, like, favorite episodes or favorite moments?
Oh, man. You know, the Kyle Turley one definitely was at the top of the list.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I'd have to go back to, like, there's, I know this is the 100th episode of Power Athlete Radio, but there's actually, it would actually be 101. There is one that's out there that's like at Area 51, buried in the fucking vault somewhere. That it was like me and Luke and Steve.
Oh yeah.
Luke was out at, like, I want to say you guys were in Seattle, like fucking Gravity James.
Yes, we were. I was there.
And it was all text, and I'm texting Luke, and I'm like, okay, you know, I don't even remember what platform we used, but I'm like, hey, dude, fucking, I was gonna catch him on his lunch.
Yeah, we had to shut it down, right?
Well, no, I know that.
That was because of fear of legal.
Well, no, it was the whole intro of that particular platform that we used, right? Because it said something like some sort of disclaimer at the beginning. It didn't matter, but like that whole conversation was like the first time like me and Steve and Luke like had a fucking conversation.
Feels like the first time.
Yeah. Right?
Was this when you motherfuckers started the podcast and didn't fucking tell me?
And then
Okay, so John has selected reading.
In our defense.
And all of a sudden I see this thing, I'm like, who are these motherfuckers starting our podcast?
Here's the thing.
John sends the fucking cease and desist email.
Right.
Whoa. You guys don't tell me there's a fucking podcast. And all of a sudden I see it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
So I laughed and Luke's like, that's us. I'm like, oh, sorry about that, guys.
Here's the thing.
Hey, I apologize for that, didn't I?
No, but
No.
John.
I believe okay.
But John, here's the thing. He received all the emails, but listen, if the part that's like pertinent to what he needs to read is not in a different color than black, it is not received, and therefore.
Kelly, is there any chance that if I dig up that email threatening to put us in jail, you'll post it in the show notes?
Oh my God,
I
would
didn't
love
say to put you in jail. I have to redact it.
I would-
Kick my fucking ass.
I would love to. It's like, I hope you're wearing something form-fitting, motherfucker.
Those fucking high tops, bitch.
I got a fucking tight shirt on.
The problem is it's a Metallica shirt.
Right, there's no middle ground.
Oh, dude, when somebody steals from us, we go hard at them.
I know, and it's so weird because I'm like, can't we just ask them nicely? And they're like, no, that's not how we do it. It's like in the mafia where if you do one false step, like I'm sorry, we have to kill your whole family.
We learned it from watching you, Dad. We learned it from watching you.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I woke up like that next day. I had a fucking horse head in my bed.
Yeah.
Hey, I apologize, and if I didn't, I'm apologizing now. I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, but that was.
You know what? I can be wrong.
I just pulled up the email. You guys want me to read it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Why not? Who fucking cares?
I'm not driving. I'm riding a bike.
Yeah,
Let's go.
don't worry.
Here we go. It says, Steve and Denny, I just saw your post on the CFFB, and I wanted to give you a heads up. CrossFit Football is federally registered and licensed solely to Power Athlete LLC by CrossFit Inc. for the scope of which I'm using it. And Power Athlete is a federally registered of the Power Athlete LLC. You will get a C&D, cease and desist, from CF Inc. and Power Athlete because you have no prior written approval to use these names. CF is pretty aggressive with this shit, and I hammer people that try to use my email without contacting me. CF monitors this site and jumps on this stuff. I will get an email tonight from CF Legal. I realize you're trying to do your part and want to support us, but we can't have people putting out information as CrossFit football and power athlete that does not come directly from me. Or at the very least, contacting me or giving me a heads up about using my
Yeah, you guys fucking did this. You didn't even tell me.
Which you did.
In our defense, Luke said he had it under control.
Have you? You know what?
Wait,
I'm gonna
wait,
need
it goes on.
email proof of that.
If you have any problems or concerns, please contact me. I've CC'd Power Athlete Legal on this email.
HR.
Yeah, that's me.
That was a pretty nice email. I mean,
Yeah, there was one.
Except for the part where you threatened to hammer us.
Yeah.
well, that was more of a sexual way, Steve.
Oh my god. Oh my
You're
god.
like, I'm down.
Oh wow.
Well, I'll just give you guys a little history. CrossFit football is licensed to us to use, and even how we use it. That's why we're not doing the CrossFit football podcast.
Women want us and men want to be
we do the
us.
Power Athlete podcast because CrossFit is property of CrossFit.com.
Owned. Yeah, we are owned.
There was a little misunderstanding. So
It was-
some
it was
plants
fun.
crossed an imaginary line.
Yeah, we look back and laugh on that.
Right, so episode 0, that's your favorite.
Episode 0. So before the Power Athlete HQ website went up, and you guys kind of like transferred all that. Or no, it was when you upgraded the CrossFit football site.
Mhm.
Like whatever day Luke and Steve and myself recorded that show, like it was posted in the forum.
I
on
know,
that day.
yeah. I remember that, and then we had to take it
That's
down.
the
I
only
think.
way anybody's ever going to be able to find the link, and I don't even know if it's on that server or what.
They will not be able to find it anymore because the old CrossFit football is not accessible anymore. So there's no way
It's
for them to find
completely
it.
destroyed.
Yeah,
You-
it's destroyed.
Yeah, it only exists as a PDF.
Yeah, it's a PDF now.
Yeah.
So we're
so
gonna
there's the next
Never
challenge.
seen it.
let's
Power Application, find that PDF.
yeah, Luke is looking up right now, so he's gonna hack the Gibson and we'll find it. I'm sure in the
It's
next
got to be
week.
some kind of a contest, though. I mean, we got to have like the listeners try to find it.
But I mean, the truth of the matter is that if Denny and I hadn't had the initiative, this project wouldn't exist.
That's
I
true.
completely agree.
100%. All the credit goes to
100%.
you.
All the credit and glory goes to Denny.
All right,
Yeah.
I found it. Found
You-
the first one.
You guys have the vision. That was hard. That was hard.
Found the first one.
Well, I mean, me and Luke go way back as well because the
Chicago.
seminar is starting to turn out to be like the seminar
It's
that
kind of-
Your seminar?
we should have went to.
Yeah, it's kind of like a class reunion. Like every time we
It
go to
really
Naples.
is. I mean, there's a lot of history was there. Hobbs was there. Carl was there. Luke. I mean, it all started from that. I'm gonna get a tear in my eye too.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna go choked up. That's-
Listen, I've been to fucking Naperville like a bunch of times. It's nothing to cry over except of how
Have you been to the Lantern?
boring it is. I have not been to the Lantern.
Then you shut your mouth.
No, I think I was kicked out before I even went in, just by association.
You know tennis?
Yeah, exactly. So Levi he is here with us right now, and I'm just curious, like, he did a lot of work for the podcast. In fact, he did a lot of the posting for a while. So what's your best memory of Power Athlete Radio?
My favorite moment was when Callie said that I'm terrible at producing the podcast, and was like, "Don't worry, you're doing great, but I'm going to take over."
I know, and I said, you know
Was
what?
that on air?
Yes.
It's because we had better jobs for you. Like,
She actually kicked him in the balls from behind and pushed him down.
here's the thing. I treat the podcast like it would like a child, which is I give it about 50% of the effort that it deserves and the attention that it deserves.
And you
Right.
abuse it.
And then I abuse it. I use it when I want to, but it doesn't probably get like all the nurturing it needs. But like that's just the thing. Like that's it will grow on its own, and we'll help with it.
You love this thing.
I do. I love podcasts. I
So-
do.
So I have two favorite moments. One of them was just being a part of Power Athlete, and that was being
Here
Caesar.
we go.
It was being Caesar, which is the weight chaser for John and Luke for the last 22 weeks.
So my buddy,
Cesar.
when I was trained in the NFL, when I come back here, it was kind of tough to find training partners. So I had a buddy who was a bodybuilder, and I used to pay him to basically lift weights with me. So I'd be like, "Hey Caesar, we're going to train today," and he wouldn't train. He would just basically rack the weights. And so I was telling these guys the story, and then Levi started referring to himself as Caesar.
Because I was getting my workout from racking those Gorilla biscuits.
Yeah, well, we have Gorilla cookies and the Gorilla biscuits and Silverback cookies.
So first of all, if anyone doesn't know, like apparently that was like first coined as like weed term, like that's the name for weed, certain types of weed. But like John calls like the biggest dumbbells Gorilla cookies, which is like.
So this goes back to the NFL too. So like if you like the 130s were always like anything over the 130s were always like Gorilla cookies, and then like I think the 150s were like something like Silver biscuits or something, or Silverback biscuits. And so like Luke all of a sudden goes and grabs some 130s, and I'm like, oh, going for those Gorilla cookies. And like these guys looked at me like they'd never heard. I'm like, you guys have never called the big weights the Gorilla cookies? And he's like, no.
Well, I was working with donut holes.
And then so Levi tagged them in Instagram,
I'm still
and
hungry.
I click on the hashtag for Instagram, and it's a bunch of fucking weed, and I'm like, typical fucking marijuana guys, fucking Gorilla cookies.
But my second, or I guess my favorite Power Athlete Radio memory would be definitely Dr. Hatfield, and just the wealth of knowledge that he was, but just he's a badass, man. Like John was telling some legend that he did like 100 and something freestanding handstand push-ups in between sets of a shoulder day or something.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was a squat day. So his rest period was as long as it took him to do 100 straight freestanding handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
And he would kick up and do 100 in a row.
Yeah.
Without coming down. And then you remember we were talking about, he was like, getting on the CrossFit stuff. I'm like, hey, Doc, would you have competed in the CrossFit Games? He's like, I would have won that shit.
He said that he used to, when he was waiting for the bus, he and his buddies used to do flags off the side of the bus pole and like human flags, and it's just like, this is like, just stuff that was like parkour before parkour became douchey.
Yeah. He's doing he's going to be giving a free seminar in Madison in April.
Yeah, he does
a
that.
Free fucking seminar at like a CrossFit gym there.
Why?
Well, he was on Rob Wolf's podcast recently and made the comment that he was excited to come back on the Power Athlete podcast.
Yeah.
That we were some guys that were real switched on and knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
Except for that one girl.
No.
So no, yeah, we'll have him on, and I'm trying to. I just emailed with Dave Tate today, and I'm gonna talk to Buddy Morris on the phone. I want to try to get Buddy Morris on the phone.
There you go.
The podcast. Those of you guys that we're gonna have the elite deal, and hopefully we get some more good guests.
So Bobby, any good memories for you?
Yeah, man. The Turley episode ranks really high, just being off the charts. But I also really loved how the banter just went full retard with John and Kanavi. That podcast was awesome. It was just like off the charts. They were just swapping stories the entire time. It was good.
Kanavi being a local Scranton boy, so
that's right.
And those of you guys don't know, Kanavi is the assistant strength coach for the Tennessee Titans. So he got hired by the Titans, and so now we will have a new team. As long as Jared Allen's playing for Chicago Bears, we'll root for him. But now we'll start rooting for Kanavi's Tennessee Titans.
It's cool.
There's some great Jack Street talk that dialogue you guys kind of got into in that podcast. That sounded like some badass training days.
Yeah, well, like what you guys see with the Friday Jack Street basically comes from my training with Kanavi, where we would come in, and after practice we'd always come in and lift weights, and it was that was always the big heavy upper day and always the big arm day, and when we first started, and it kind of grew up, and we would go this is back when I go to Tower Records and actually buy CDs. Imagine those fucking days. But we'd be like, oh, fucking Slipknot and this, and we'd always buy a new CD for every Friday and come in and throw it on, and it was pretty cool. We come in there and bang some weights and had some really epic workouts. And Kanavi, his favorite thing was fat bar reverse curl to pull up. I mean, and it was basically just supersets, and what you guys see from Jack Street is kind of mentally when I think about Jack Street, it reminds me of standing in line at Finnegan's Wake at 5 o'clock in the morning to try to get in and get first beer on St. Patrick's Day. So I mean, those are good memories. And Tommy, as you guys know from that podcast, was as influential in my training and what you guys see as anybody out there. So it was great to have him on. I count him as a great friend, and I was really excited we could finally get him on.
Yeah, I gotta jump on both these because those are my two favorite podcasts. First off, Hatfield, and just I have his definition of passion just on my wall. It's not the commitment to excellence rather the utter disdain for anything else.
Yeah.
And everyone should go back and listen to that because
100
it
times.
rolls right into this speech like it's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And there's this epic pause at the end where we just start clapping. And he's like, that's the speech I've memorized and I gave to the 64 Chiefs. I can't recall the exact year.
No, that was the Raiders.
No,
it
it
the
was
Chiefs.
It was the Chiefs. Yeah.
So that's, and just his, Luke and I talk about the X factor and this thing we can't describe as an athlete, and he just rolls right into it. It's being under
Flawless.
the bar, and you can't force it, you can't create it, it's just there. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. So when we're trying to like decipher the X factor code after like 5 ciders, you can't. So he talked about it and it was amazing. And the second favorite one is the Canavy. So like we've had strength and conditioning coaches conversations back and forth.
Let me cut you off. Canavy's nickname is the Colonel. So when you guys keep saying Canavy, it's the Colonel. That's what we've always called him.
Oh, the Colonel.
The Colonel.
Oh, I thought you guys were talking about someone else.
Oh, okay. Just throwing it out there.
Colonel Sanders. Colonel.
The Colonel.
Yeah, just we always talk about pro strength and conditioning or college strength and conditioning, so it was amazing to kind of compare stories and just talk with this professional who's had a lot of success and hear how he's taken pieces and components, conversations with John, and then built a system that he's found just to work well. And it's just kind of great to have the opportunity to talk to these guys.
Yeah.
You know what, Tex? Just to kind of fucking build off of that, like, the conversations I had with him, like, off the air, or let me back up, like, for the listeners out there, the way this goes is sometimes, or most of the time, I'll reach out to our guests and kind of contact them before we record, and I'll kind of walk them through, like, the platform that we use, and give them a heads up, show pictures of myself naked, and just kind of break the ice and all that stuff, right?
And then I have to reel it in.
And then I got to text Callie to help me out because by that
and then
time
I have to show pictures of myself naked.
Yeah, but Tom and I swear to God, the Colonel, we probably talked for like an hour, at least an hour about like I looked at it like as an opportunity to ask this guy like here's this guy with like some knowledge, you know what I mean? And I don't know when I'm gonna get a chance to talk to him again. So I just started like hammering out some questions, and he answered every single one of them like he was my best friend. It was fucking awesome.
Now Luke and I, we got an All Saints race to compete in, so
yeah,
it's great.
Oh yeah, the Saint Ubaldo. You guys are running with the Saints for Ubaldo.
The what?
So Tommy is captain for this deal in Scranton where they have a big like race of the Saints. And he runs it's on St. Ubaldo Day. Mm-hmm. And so since I've known Canavy every year, I get a drunken text from him. Wellborn, you piece of shit, you're running with me in Ubaldo. And so I look it up, and it's like what Tommy lives for. So every time he meets somebody, he tries to sucker them in to run with it's the running of the Saints, the piece of the Saints.
You carry this big old statue a mile or something, right? And then up a hill and then bury
train
it.
for it. Yeah, it's a fucking deal.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah, so it's a big deal in Scranton. But, Tommy is... salt of the earth, and like, dude, like when I was at like, a lowly first year, I mean, dude, there's nobody lower on the roster than a rookie on IR, injured reserve. Like that's like the lowest of low. Like nobody even knows your name, and when nobody knew my name, I was just low man on totem pole. Canavy fucking treated me the exact same, and was more than happy to work. He just was happy to have somebody that wanted to listen and bust his ass, and like. But to this day, dude, that guy is as good as they get and one of the best strength coaches I've ever been around.
So just to interject real quick, that's also, if you're a strength and conditioning coach, go fucking talk to those kids. You'll never know who they're going to turn out to be. So invest in every player, no matter if they're on the fucking field or on their IR.
Yeah, but that means the NFL where they're like, oh, who are you? Fuck off, So
is that even lower than like scout team?
Oh yeah, because at least scout team, you're actually doing something. Like when you're a rookie on injured reserve, like, and I was a starter, so I actually thought I had a little bit of status. You got nothing. So the fact that like the strength coaches, but and now thinking back on it, strength coaches just want to like coach people up and lift some weights and get people better, and they deal with a bunch of guys that don't fucking give a shit, and then all of a sudden they got like some young guy that's like, fuck it, let's do it, let's have a good time, and they were probably as excited just to have somebody to train with and have somebody to let it go. So
Kelly, what's yours?
Well. Well, I have a favorite moment.
Hey guys, I gotta head out. I gotta go meet my mom and dad for a little birthday dinner with the kids.
Oh, happy birthday!
So thank you very much.
birthday, Joe.
Happy end 100th episode, and I will be expecting $100 bills from all you guys.
Oh,
yeah. Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you.
Yeah, well, if I'm the winner.
They don't even make $100 bills. You
Yeah, you guys. You know the worst is you guys are like, when you're like, fuck him. I'm not paying him. He can go fuck himself.
No.
I'm paying.
And he signs the checks.
You have a gift card coming in your name.
Oh,
So everyone's
I'll take that
wages,
and
you'll
I'll
be
give it
garnished
back.
$100 free tax. It'll be worth.
Right. So my favorite moment for sure was once when it's one of the numerous times in this past 100 episodes where I almost peed my pants laughing, which is when Tex was telling the story. I'm gonna start laughing again about when Tex's quote unquote roommate unfortunately passed away on account of
I was at a seminar.
on account of old age.
No,
That was a
she
good
had
story.
problems.
Sensitive side coming out.
She had problems.
So that was probably the funniest. And if people haven't heard Tex tell that story, it's pretty fucking hilarious. So we can tag that up in the show
It was in
notes.
February, March of 2014.
It was actually February 22nd because we did the Katy, Texas seminar, and I returned home. I don't find out until the next day at night because Raph has to work 12-hour days. So
You were sleeping in the house with a dead person.
Probably. I don't know. I just
Oh my god!
I come home Monday night at 8
Tex calls
p.m.
that the normal Friday night, though.
Shut it down. So
We call that Corpse Friday.
I come home at Monday night after working 12 hours with Raph, and there's these three women there I've never met. They were sisters. She's like,
Bodies.
you must be the roommate. And then they break the news. That's it.
Wow. Devastating. However, I for some reason on that given day found it extremely hilarious.
But the
And,
funny part is Luke visited me in Tampa, and
Yes.
guess where he stayed?
In her fucking room.
Oh my god, I didn't
Did
know
it
that.
smell?
Yeah.
What did it smell like?
Like death.
Mostly that. I'll tell you what.
But
let me
that was
tell you
from working with Raph.
No. Listen, maybe I'm insensitive. I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm coming from a queen bed, 2 dogs, and a starfish girlfriend, and all of a sudden I get a queen bed to myself in pitch black.
Dude, you can't call your girlfriend a fucking
A
starfish.
starfish girlfriend.
That is a negative connotation.
That is a major negative connotation.
Well, imagine the positive connotation.
Okay. I'm sure she will.
We're trying.
He's just saying that she's a sprawler.
She's a
She
sprawler.
takes up a lot of bed space.
Yes, thank you, Denny. For those of us who, I get, regardless of that,
Anyway.
I had a king size bed to myself, and it was like blackout blinds and everything. And I'm like, "Is this the roommate's room, Tex?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Is this heaven?
Is that wrong? And I'm like, "Yeah, it's wrong, but it's a king, so."
Yeah.
I mean,
That was my favorite moment. And my favorite guest, I knew if someone was going to choose Hatfield, but she's like, you can hear John's truck roaring away right now. But my favorite guest, no one's going to think this is interesting, but I liked talking to Professor Stephen G. Miller. I thought he was like a really super smart guy, and he's one of John's professors from Cal, and he's currently in Greece right now, and working on some excavations there. And I thought he was a smart guy, and he had a lot to offer in providing context in how athletes used to train in ancient Greece. And so I don't know, I just thought it was cool because ultimately like that era of competition was it kind of laid the foundation for how we view
modern athletics.
Modern athletics, how we view athletics, and also like the athlete had creating the standards for what it's like to prepare for athletic performance, who it was open to, and I just thought it was super informative, and I thought it was kind of a charming guy, and so he swept me off my feet via Skype or whatever.
You want to date him?
I'm not closing my mind to the idea. I'm just saying that I think they say when in Rome or when in Greece.
In Greece. That podcast was like the Ripito one, right? That was purely like.
Yeah, dude. So talking about moments, I think that Bobby, that might have been when we came back from. Was that this year or was that last year?
Last year.
I came back from an international trip, and I was ready to go home and just crash out. Zero sleep on the plane. I can't sleep on the plane. And I land and I do a check-in with Callie. How's it going? She's like, we're trying to subscribe to Vonage to make an international call. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, we have the podcast with Dr. Miller today, and we can't get it to work or something like that. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Well, there's no internet where he was at.
No, he had to call from a landline.
No fucking internet.
No.
So it was just like, for anyone who runs anything,
it was a series of
technical
cans and strings.
Like when you have a technical, especially with somebody this prestigious, with so far away.
Yeah.
We've gone through so much work to try and get him signed up, and now you have technical difficulties where you can't get this thing to work out. Just so frustrating. But I ended up coming in, and I'd making some international calls to a good buddy of mine, and I had a bunch of international credits, and I also had, like you said, Denny, the call recorder from Rip's podcast. I just walked up, looked at these two scrubs trying to be tech geniuses.
So this is where Luke gets to toot his own horn, like,
drop the phone down.
Callie's getting ready to do like the fucking pigeon carrier thing.
Yeah.
I came in, put that sucker on, and as soon as he picked up, you should have seen Callie's heart.
He's like, move, and then he just fucking takes over the computer. And
too many Dilbert screensavers.
Yeah, he told me to sit in a corner and face the wall, and so he saved the day, no doubt, for sure, as Luke does. And I was just super fortunate to have him on. I know there was something else I want to say about that, but irrelevant. But I like Stephen Jamil. I remember what I was going to say. A significant factor would be that apparently, I'm not going to say allegedly because I think that leaves a little too much room for doubt, but apparently the character of Indiana Jones was based off of him. And he talks about how he had a conversation sort of serendipitously with a producer who was producing this movie based on this archaeologist. And Stephen G. Miller is from Indiana, and he said that his nickname, he was telling this producer that his nickname was Indiana all through, like, growing up. And so, essentially, like, he thinks that that's where this whole thing came from. And to be honest, it's, like, to kind of put it, like, cross-reference it with, like, all the other stuff that, like, his character and all the other stuff, the conversations that we were having, he doesn't seem like someone who would just boast on that, like, sort of, like, just kind of make that shit up. Like, I think that he's legit, which makes it even more exciting because that's one degree of Harrison Ford, and, that's another...
And he was amazing in Waterworld.
That's not Waterworld. So those are my kind of favorite moments. Yeah.
Nice.
Those were the
So, should we kind of talk some freaking shark diving?
We could do that.
Do it.
All right, let me preface.
Oh my god, dude. Are you playing that out of a seashell?
Yeah, I thought that would be a good, like, segue into the fucking
Africa. We got a soundboard now. It's the 100th episode.
Yeah, he just held his Beats by Dre up to the microphone. Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, if anybody who knows anything or follows these guys is going to know that, like, Luke and Tex actually, like, jumped into the fucking ocean in a toy cage with fucking man-eating great whites.
Listen, it's not that big of a deal.
And we were the biggest men out there.
And they were far away. And
not that big of a deal. I mean, you're basically... You're standing there with your dick in your hand.
No.
That's a fact. Actually, it was a GoPro, but go on.
As Tex calls it.
It's about the same size.
From the ground.
I'll let you guys tell the story, but best I heard, like, you guys aren't even fully submerged because you're not even, like, snoobing. You're just basically, like, surface level kind of snorkeling, and you're in a cage And you don't even get to ride the sharks,
We
which
were
like.
in a portable shower for a cage, Callie. You know how scary that is?
Portable shower.
Dude, I was a diving instructor for many years, and I have dove with sharks before,
In the Pacific,
and
not the Atlantic at the bottom.
no,
of the
in the Atlantic, you pet them and you ride them, and they're
Cage
like
goes in the water.
they're the dolphins of the East Coast, so they're delicious.
Oh,
And to be honest with you, Denny, you know what was crazy about what was the most dangerous portion of that trip was the ride home. The swells were like huge, and we ramped off. Tex and I were riding on the bow of the boat, and we ramped off this fucking wave, and I went airborne and ass off of the bow of the boat and just went immediately crotch into the safety rail.
Whoa.
And just like stuck and like, oh.
Were you guys trying to bulk on the boat ride? Like, were you like jerky in hand and like this
Right?
the seas are so high?
Hands for a fucking chicken sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, Tex has
Pocket sandwich. I had a selfie stick in one hand, a pocket sandwich in the other.
Right.
I both got air, but he's the one that hit his ball.
Yeah.
You had an
My gynoid wasn't large enough to stay connected.
egg salad sandwich in your wetsuit.
Wetsuit sandwich.
And the show has reached a new low.
He's like,
Oh, Levi's still there?
Yeah, I know.
oh, we heard Levi's voice. Got to drink up.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, it was surreal. It was like we were watching TV. These things
That's
are
cool.
freaking 3 feet in front of us. They're 18-foot great whites.
That's
It was
super cool.
almost like it was not even real.
Yeah.
And honestly, the greatest part, maybe we can post this video, Luke. Luke and I go up top, and we're thinking, all right, group 3's in the water. We're going to spend 15 minutes filming this thing with a selfie stick. All we're looking for is a shark to breach. We're going to turn to look at the camera and flex. So for 15 minutes, we're not even watching the sharks. As soon as we hear our boys say shark, we look at the camera and try to flex.
Oh my god, dude. You guys are ridiculous. First of all,
But we got the shot. We got the
Dude,
shot.
it's good because like
There's a lot of outtakes.
dude.
The magic is in
had
the
a-
editing.
When Luke got back, if I had $1 for every time I heard the fucking word breach, shark breach, I swear to God, if another day goes by without me hearing shark breach,
Well, it was like shark breach, perimeter breach.
everything's a fucking breach of something. I'm like, what?
Did
do you
Luke
know
breach
what
his
breach?
jeans on Jack Street?
You know, I never breached the jeans. I know you and Bobby breached plenty of theirs.
You didn't breach any jeans?
No, my girlfriend was way ahead of that and bought me all these big and tall jeans.
Wait. You have fat pants now?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Nice.
I was thinking the same thing, like those maternity fucking jeans that moms wear. Or...
Yeah, I got one of those.
Those are for moms.
Mom jeans.
But no, it was good. And you know what was even better is that watching people freak out and not go and like pay like $200 for this thing. They're like, I can't do it, and it's like
Pussies,
clearly
honestly,
no refund.
That's so ridiculous.
But
Yeah. Well,
speaking of Tex, did you reach out to those Germans?
Yeah, no word back. Freaking Germans.
Oh,
Callie.
the Germans. Hey,
The Germans.
Fräulein Hinzmann, it's not my fault. It's not mein fault. Okay, let's move on to our final topic of discussion, which is all I have here is listed train heroic updates
No.
/ Luke loses his mind.
No. No updates.
There's no updates coming out of HQ.
No. What about
No.
What about the 101 episode of
I
Power?
am the 101.
101th.
Yeah.
101.
I thought this was the last one.
Yeah. This
This is it. They're
This is it.
pulling the plug, guys. That's the
Shut it
surprise.
down. Shut the Rubbermaid bin
All
down.
3 listeners, it's done.
It's
I know.
done.
We're down
starting
one
to
listener.
get
We're
We've been
down one listener
bringing
today.
out some
Playtech's
fucking
actually on.
guests.
Hey, should we start calling Playtech his real name or no?
Platic.
Platic.
How do you even know that? Did I tell you?
Yeah, you told us
We've
we've been
known
fucking
since
friends.
Well, I told you, Callie, in a offline conversation.
Yes, that's
In
correct.
confidence. I told
That's-
you in confidence.
Yeah, that's 100%
Just
correct.
for us, Callie.
Question
know.
is, 100 episodes in, why now?
Yeah, forget about it. Steve played tech.
I was so embarrassed and I felt really ignorant.
My on-air personality.
Well, we watched the grid, and they called you Playtech.
Did they?
No, those fuckers got it wrong every time because I told them what it was. They're stupid fuckers.
They obviously listened to the podcast.
That's the only conclusion.
That might be the only thing that they do right.
And they're like, this Steve Platic guy is full of shit.
Yeah.
This fucking guy. You know, Steve, I feel like it's been forever since we've talked to you.
I know.
No, it really has.
We got to hear your voice. I mean, just so you guys know, at the Power
I want to smell your musk.
the Power Athlete Symposium, Steve and I were roommates together.
Oh,
Yeah.
So this guy, like,
Edit
in the room,
edit this.
Steve like strips down to a fucking Speedo and hooks up like the fucking Compex.
Here's the weird thing: you guys requested no bed.
Yeah.
He doesn't go on holiday, man.
As soon as Luke sent the email of who's gonna room with who, we were like, no bed.
No bed. We want to sleep like bats next to each other.
Yeah. I thought everybody did it. I thought that was a normal thing.
In the corner.
That's it.
Yeah.
I've lost it.
So Steve opens the door, like, him and I have never met before, face to face. Like, whoosh! Strips down to a Speedo, pulls out the fucking Compex,
D to
hooks
D.
up to his fucking glutes, and he's like, what do you think of this?
What? Is that a direct quote? That's bull. I call bull honky.
That's pretty much the most accurate story ever told.
So like, that's got to be true. She's throwing light bulbs on people's heads, Jerry.
Sure.
Listen, try to keep your jealousy at bay, okay?
You guys were like D to D in that place, right?
Docking crew.
Or P to P. Sorry, we're like being professional. Amazing. Well, you know, like finally after all of these years, you guys get to meet.
The world didn't end.
No.
It was almost like Y2K. It was almost. We talked about that. It might not
be your long lost pen pals that finally met up.
Yeah, except some bottled water with margaritas.
It was like a Tom Hanks romantic.
I mean, you kind of picture like me and Steve running through like this field of grass at opposite ends, in slow motion, and we're getting ready to meet in the middle and grab a big hug underneath the sunshine.
Denny, there's this thing called Photoshop, so let's not give the producer any ideas, okay?
Nope. I've already and done. Enhance. So the last thing I kind of want to just plug is like we've got some good upcoming guests. We've already chatted with Zach Evanesh, who's going to be on our next podcast. So
that was awesome.
Yeah, he is 101. He is the real deal. Listen, you people I'm sure have heard of Zach, and you can check out his website and get an interpretation of what this guy is like. But in our conversation, he is more verbose than John Wellborn himself.
No.
That is a fact.
That would have been awkward if John was there.
If John was there, I don't even know
4-part series.
Yeah, I don't know what would have occurred, but it would have been like a super lengthy, like longer than any like BBC period piece, like fucking go on and on and on forever. And it's just a love story of coaches, and like Zach is one of the most passionate coaches that we've had on the podcast, and he's full of good one-liners, Tech, so you'll love that. And he's
I was there.
Yeah, I know. And he's inspired by films as well, Luke. So there you go. There's something for everyone.
I was there.
And he liked my Arnold impression, so we got that going for me, which is nice.
And you know what I mean? Just like his story. I mean, talking about how he just was training kids out of his garage and it grew and he didn't give up on himself.
Denny, listen, like I don't mind being real. Like I think that's a great story, but it's not like he fucking like came up from nothing. I think it's a good story of how he saw something through, but it wasn't like
your story.
It's not like my yeah. Do I need?
Is that like the story of Hinsman?
Yeah, the story of Hinton. No, I don't even. I have a way worse story. I don't even have a story. But like I get it. Like he has a story, but I don't necessarily think it's like some of the people that I've heard come to our seminars and stuff like really have come from like nothing and nowhere and have accomplished a lot. And like Zach, I don't want to take anything away from him, but he's just a guy who
shit all over that episode.
No,
so.
not at all. No, just his story should be the story of a person who's passionate about coaching and sees it through, and what's more
stays
committed, and that's the thing. Like that's expected, right? Like here's the thing I will say that I think is unique about him, and that is that his work ethic has not wavered over the course of his career. In fact, it's only grown exponentially, and now he's just like, he works to the bone. He wakes up and he drives 2 hours.
Both ways.
Both ways.
4-hour round trip.
4-hour round trip to go coach
Lehigh
University wrestlers. And it is through that kind of dedication that like you can kind of, that's where I'm impressed, and I'm like, this guy's already made it. He already has a great name for himself. He's a great coach. And yet he's so committed to this team that this is the way he shows his commitment to them. And so like that's more of like where I'm impressed.
And balances.
I hear you. So what do you, now that you mentioned like you've heard some hardship stories at the seminar, what's one that like you think of that comes right off the top of your head?
That's a great question, Denny.
Yeah, I mean
all 4 of you could have. You probably have some story of something. I mean, like that.
There are stories like hardships come in a lot of like different shapes and sizes. Like specifically, I think when I think of hardship, I think of having somebody who was a veteran come to our seminar who has lost a limb and who comes in and tells us what their training was like before they went to Afghanistan, and then what it's like when they came back, and what training means to them now, right? So like you get someone like that at a CrossFit football seminar, and you say one of the homework assignments is like describe to us what you're training for, what are your specific goals, and it could be anything. And the perspective on that is completely changed, and that's a person who it's one thing to start from nothing, but to have something and have it all taken away and having experienced that and then have to start from scratch again is I can't think of something more humbling for that particular athlete. And so to go through that and see the hard work that goes into that, that's one of the things that sticks out in my mind in terms of like attendees.
Yeah, and like in that particular case, wasn't just like it was physical loss, but it was also form social loss. He had been like socially exiled, and it was through his training that he found a whole new social
outlet.
And that was, I know what you're talking about,
like a support system. Shit is crazy.
I got to say much respect to any military that we had in the seminar. This one is the old ball coach, and this comes in many forms. I know one guy Luke and I had in Lexington, Kentucky, and he was well past his prime. He won a state championship his first year as a head coach in his 30s. So now later in life, he has this great opportunity to reprove himself. So he was at the seminar to learn from the bottom up strength and conditioning, because he was taking over this team where everyone doubted him. So this is his opportunity from the bottom up to prove to his community, to his players, to the parents involved, the backers that are paying for the stadium, everything, that he's all in. And he's going to be training with the kids.
Yeah, and from what I recall, it was a big-time club. Like, there was a lot of money in this team from boosters and everything else. Because, I mean, he just started describing his gym, and it was like over 10,000 square feet. They had 20-plus racks and 20-plus sets of weights, and, like, it was crazy.
So those are just some of the...
What about you, Bobby? Any story off the top of your head?
Honestly, I haven't heard too many hardship stories in the seminars that I've done, but I do have one seminar moment that sticks out in my head, and every time I think about it, I just can't fucking hold it together. I just laugh uncontrollably. It was a seminar we did. It was Callie and Tex, and I was just helping out at the seminar. Yeah. And there was this tiny little female attendee who was had just like passed infantry school. She was like, Army infantry, just passed infantry school, and she was very interactive the entire time. And then she sticks her hand up and asks, it might have been during the nutrition seminar, I'm not sure, Callie was up in front.
Yeah,
and, she sticks her hand up and she's like, I have a question. And so Callie stops her talk and engages this question, and the girl's like, so I'm wondering if is there anything you recommend that you take, for she's down there. And Callie's just looking at her, and everybody's just kind of looking at this girl, and she starts pointing down to her crotch. And Callie just looks at her, and she's like, what? And she was like, well, my dad was telling me I should take these, some probiotics to help, with my vagina. And Callie goes, oh, I don't even know how that thing works down there. That's magic. And the whole seminar just like falls out, dying, laughing, and the girl just didn't know what to say, and she was like, "Oh, okay."
Like, I tried to like really tactfully work my way around that, but the girl is asking me. We were talking about supplements and gut flora and all this stuff, and she said, like I've heard that like my dad told me that like I should be taking stuff. I'm like, first of all, listen, you got a relationship with your father that I do not have.
Yeah.
And this poor girl she's just so earnest, and she wanted an answer, and what you failed to mention, Bobby, was not only did I say, I'm sorry, I wish I could help you, but I barely know what's going on down there. Like, those are like my exact words. Yeah. And then the thing is, like, because there was such silence, I continued to talk about how little I knew what was going on. Yeah, so I kind of rolled with it, and I just continued to talk about like how I didn't understand my own vagina, and
it was spectacular.
We have the audio for the lecture. Can we get that up or no?
Yeah, we probably have
it somewhere.
It was
like,
good.
Next question.
She just stumbled around, and I'm pretty sure you made a reference to magic, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that was it. I totally forgot about that. That's good that you remember that. Good call.
So, Callie, did you end up doing research and discovering a little bit about yourself?
No, yeah, like that. I spent a good 30 minutes with a hand mirror after that, and I feel more confused than I started. So, anyway. Well, I think that's a good show quote for this episode. What?
We can't put a picture of that, so.
I guess that's it then.
Is this goodbye?
This is goodbye.
Gotta make this run on time. A little white pill for them little white lines I'm smoking. Going down the road.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in and continuing to listen to Power Athlete Radio. Remember, if you have an idea for a guest or a topic, or if you want to become a sponsor, go to www.powerathletehq.com/contact. We would love to hear from you. Stay tuned to next week when we hear from Zach Evanesh. This guy strikes me as a young Fred Hatfield. His demeanor and coaching presence is something beyond passionate. Do yourself a favor and get excited about your training by listening to episode 101 next. And don't forget, if you ever get confronted with a question about probiotics and their effects on lady bits, do not answer, I don't know anything about it, honestly. I wish I did. I barely know what's going on here, so I don't know. I Google it. Very uncomfortable. Until next week, bye!